have some really important information to share with you, especially if you have an active practice. I want you to pay close attention to this because I want to give you some help, some assistance along the way. All right, that's the live stream. All right, so let's get a full screen here and let's start our day. Oh my goodness, it's going to be holidays soon. We're going to have some great events coming up. To that effect, we are going to be working on our event of the year, which is slated for November 21st. Let me just make sure I got that right, through the 23rd, the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. So the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, right before Thanksgiving. So I really need you to volunteer just to give a nice testimonial, to share your experience, to be one of our guests, perhaps a practitioner, or if you just use it for your family, everyone is welcome. If you can email me, Ariel@geniusbiofeedback.com. We do have some practitioner packs to thank you. We really need our community to come forward and share your experience for other people who are interested in the genius. And around Black Friday, we get a lot of interest of people who want to move forward. They've been waiting all year. They want to hear what is the experience of other people. So some people have come forward already and said, yes, I want to go ahead and go for it, and which is wonderful. Thank you so much. And we want to add some more guests. So it's probably going to be about noon to 3, noon Pacific time to 3. That's a time that just seems to work for everyone. So we're shooting for noon to 3 Pacific. So that's going to be 3 to 6 Eastern time. But please do send me a message, Ariel@geniusbiofeedback.com. Some of you already have. I know, Lisa, you have. I appreciate it so much. But we do need like about a dozen people to give their testimonials on that day. But we'll get all of that taken care of. Now, I also want to call your attention to the Learn area here at Genius Biofeedback. Our website is geniusbiofeedback.com, not to be confused with any other website. It's geniusbiofeedback.com, where we have the very best training, the very best practitioner training. We give you support. We have the very best libraries created by naturopathic doctor, and they're all on the website. I've reviewed them. And we also have a lot of resources on here. So if you go to Learn, you can see all of our past recordings, and they're all on the blog. Now, today, what I want to do is I want to share with you what's going on with the new version. All right, so you're going to want to check out this blog post about the new version versus the old version. Okay, I'm going to try to post it in here. There we go. Okay, Sarah, we would love your testimony. So please send me a message, Ariel@geniusbiofeedback. You can have the genius for a day and have a story to tell. You don't have to be a long-term user of the genius. We have a lot of new people that want to share how it's changed their lives. So Sarah, you're in. In fact, I'll just reach out to you after today. Okay, for those of you experiencing issues with the new genius, what I want to tell you is if you're in practice, okay, if you're a practitioner, I would recommend that you revert to the old versions of the genius, both Apple and Android. Okay, what we've done is if you like the new version, you should consider yourself a beta tester. If you like the new version, you want to stick with it, then you should consider that you are a beta tester, meaning you are going to need to send us the issues that you're having. Almost everybody is having some issue. We want to fix the issues, but we don't want to put that pressure on a practitioner who's trying to get through the day and do session after session after session. So if you are that person, you have to whip out those sessions. They have to be on point. You need a working version that doesn't have really any issues whatsoever. Then we have created an article for you to revert to the previous version, and that is in this blog post. Whether you're Android or whether you're Apple, you can use this information to revert to the previous version. If you want a stable, bug-free version, then we suggest you delete your current Genius and you install the older version, whether you're Apple or Android. Probably when I do my scan today on the new version, we're going to see some issues come up. So what we're going to do is you can report those issues to me, Ariel@geniusbiofeedback.com. So if you have any bugs, just go ahead and send them to ariel@geniusbiofeedback.com. We'll take all of them, and the developer will then receive them from us to him. We will share them, and he will begin to log them and work all of them out. So hopefully that is cleared. Okay. So if you have any issue, Christina, we're not going to handle your issue during the webinar, believe it or not. So send a message, Ariel@Genius Biofeedback. We've gotten your message several times, and we've asked you to answer our questions about what you're emailing us about, and you haven't answered our questions. So we'll do our best to help you, my dear. Okay, so we need a volunteer. So if somebody wants to volunteer today and they'd like a scan, if you've been really wanting a scan, you'd like me to do a scan on you, that will help us to go through the new version. And I'll talk about the aura screen and everything else. So please do let me know with your date of birth if you'd like a scan today, then we can move forward with that. So if you want to put your date of birth down into the chat area, we can work on you. Okay, Andy, you were on it. You were the very, very first to do it. So we're going to work with you today. Go ahead and get your microphone and your camera ready so that we can talk with you, and think of what you would like us to work on specifically. What would you like us to work on for you? What would you like to transform? And then for everyone else, please go ahead and send me your questions. What question do you have? Doesn't have to be about the new version. What are you confused when you're using your genius? What is the thing that gives you the most perplexing? What do you need help with? That's what our training is for. Sometimes I do topics where I do health topics. We'll come back and we'll get back into that, where I talk about thyroid or blood sugar or heart health. We'll get back into that. But right now, I'd like to know, what is it that is holding you up? What are some things that you need assistance on? We love your class participation. So please send me your questions about different features, whether it be synergistics, whether it be the voice recording, whether it be the libraries. What do you need help with today? And we want you to definitely participate and put that into the chat so that we can help you with that. On Thursday, we are, I apologize, I've been traveling, and so we've not been able to do our podcast, but we are definitely doing it this week. Karen McDonald, I don't know if you're on, Karen, she will be joining us, and let's just go ahead and look at that. Should be on the events page. So hi, Andy, we'll be with you in just 1 second. Thank you so much for joining. So here we go. We're going to talk about immune resilience. What do you need to do? I'm very concerned about the people who got that thing. What can we do for them? We're going to be doing a more complete class on this, but we're really going to talk about for everyone, whether you've got it, you didn't get it. What can you do to boost your immune system? What can you do to be resilient in difficult times? Karen McDonald will join me. So there's a new time, though, for that podcast, and it's not 7:30, it's 6:30. So please do join us at 6:30, and we will see you Thursday at 6:30 Pacific. 6:30 Pacific, we will see you at that time. All right, now, sorry, it says 7:30, but just adjust your times for 6:30 Pacific. Okay, now back to Andy here. Andy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Doing well. And tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you. How have you been using the Genius?
So the Genius I got for myself as a Christmas present last year. It started with just playing with it and running. I see a lot of patients, so I ran everybody who is willing to do it. And I just find it to be such a great tool for folks that are far away and I can't see in person. And then, but more so for my own. And I love, like you guys have put together so many beautiful libraries. Thank you. Because it's not easy. I mean, it's not hard, but it's takes a lot of work. And so I just like to do it because I have to travel, I have to be with people, and it's a great way of just seeing what's on the top. And yet it's always nice to see someone else's view of yourself versus your own.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about. You get this objective view that gives you perspective. And we need it even as a naturopathic doctor. You know, we ask people their history, what's going on with them, but there are things that we can't see that are below the surface. And the Genius is so helpful in giving me that other view. You know, I have all of these ideas about what's going on with a patient that I'm working with, but then when I see on the Genius, oh, I didn't think of this, I didn't think of this, it gives me all of these additional hints, which is really, really helpful. So that's wonderful that you're using it in a similar way.
Definitely excited by it for sure. And I have one question I did get some
Yes.
of the pet libraries, and I do have a dog.
Mhm.
And I haven't been able to extract them out in the pet remedies come up often, it seems like.
Mhm.
So is that I often just don't add them to the quick tray, but is it, because it's like the homeopathics for the pets or, different things like that.
Wait, what are you saying? Are you using the search function so that when you do a full scan, you could just search for the animal libraries that you want? Do you know how to do that?
No, I bought the animal libraries when my dog was sick, but every time I scan myself or others, it scans those also, and they often come up. And so, most of us living with animals, it's a one fate universe, but
Okay. Well, so there's a couple of things that you can do. It's most convenient to just have all libraries attached to all clients.
mm-hmm.
Trying to detach your animal libraries from your human clients is, in my experience, a huge headache.
Okay.
And so what I do when I see animal libraries coming up for people is I simply just skip them. I just disregard them and then I move on. And I'm almost always using a piece of paper where I'm writing down the ideas of what libraries that I want to use for my client. I am looking at the reds and the blues, but more incidentally, the top reds and the bottom blues, just for more information. Most of my testing is driven by what I see in the system overview, my knowledge of naturopathic medicine, and also just what's going on with the person. So I'll just search for the library that I need, since we sort of have libraries on every single topic. It is perfectly okay if a library comes up at 777 that says animal library canine for a human, and you simply disregard it and you skip to the next one. It's not going to ruin the scan. It's not going to make it any less effective. Is that helpful information?
Definitely. Yeah. So, and if you left it in and just played the remedies, that's not going to be a problem either.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Every remedy is a frequency that is positive, that creates order and harmony in the person. Even if it was like for a horse, it's still like 936 hertz. It's not going to be like a bad frequency. All the frequencies are positive, and there may be the Genius is actually identifying that particular frequency as being the most important for that person. And typically the Genius doesn't get it wrong. We just lack the ability in our minds to say, oh my gosh, how could that dog frequency be useful for a human? And so in that case, you can bypass it and just use the ones that you want. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. What should we work on? What should we focus on for you today?
I have left-sided swelling, and I was in a car accident, kind of broke my pelvis, still have some circulatory issues, and my left ankle and foot will kind of swell and get painful. So that's definitely a piece. And it really messed up my hormones. So I've just been trying to reset the metabolic kind of reality as well.
When did this happen?
It happened a few years ago, and it's just been a journey trying to get through it,
That's really exciting. That's great. That is absolutely very, very interesting that you're using the Genius for that purpose. And I know it will have positive effects. Have you noticed any, effects from using it?
Definitely. And, it's kind of one of those funny things where I'll use it a lot and then I'll get distracted. And when I stop using it is when I notice it the most, because then I start to deteriorate. So it's one of those, I pretty much use it almost every day. And when I use it daily, I do much better. And if I go less than like 4 times a week, then I definitely notice a decline.
Okay. Well, that's what I noticed too. I always notice the difference using it on a regular basis versus not. And so that's wonderful. Well, let's get your voice so we can really dive into this. And the voice may not work today. So I may even have to revert myself to the previous version, but let's think some good thoughts. So in just a moment, I'll record your voice, and you know how to do your name and the AEIOU. I will begin recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
My name is Andriana Lucille Rainville, AEIOU, 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 AEIOU.
Okay, yeah. It's let's see if I can, let me just see if I can analyze it here. Okay, it's analyzing. We're going to get rid of that black screen in just a moment. So it is analyzing, which is good. And let's go ahead and go to the next. That's so funny that it's actually appearing on screen, but that's actually not what's happening on my iPad. All right, so we got that. And then let's go ahead and get it up there again. And just a moment here. Okay, and let's try to take the picture. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And smiles, very good, excellent. Let's use that. And let's go ahead and let me just stop it from mirroring for a second, just so we can do the analysis here outside of the Zoom. And we'll be back to mirroring it in a second. I love all of your questions that are coming through. Keep on sending your questions. Don't be intimidated just because I'm not answering them at this time. Don't worry. I will absolutely get to them. So we just want to get through this, and we're going to broadcast this in just a moment. All right. So we're going to go ahead and broadcast this now. We're going to be able to see the genius, and we're going to look at the aura. We'll talk more about that new aura function, which many of you have been asking about. All right, let's go ahead and go ahead to the aura function. Okay, beautiful. All right. So what we're noticing is that everything on the new aura function is in layers. And the layer that is closest to you is what is going on a physical level. And then it moves out from prioritization. So it's less important is the next ring, less important is the next ring. So it's rings of prioritization. And so what's really important to Andy today is healing, just total healing energy. And it's very, very consistent. Really thinking about bringing healing into your field, healing from the heart, which is the most powerful place to heal. And then the second level of priority is clearing up this red. This is a sort of a red related to the first chakra, but it's quite muddy. So this, red, that first chakra survival, that could be some emotions in there from what you went through. And so let's see if we can clear that up as we sort of cleverly and skillfully start to think about the case. Does that sound pretty good?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
All right. Well, let you just sit back and relax and enjoy as I go through this, Annie. We'll come back and we'll talk with you in just a little bit, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, and wonderful to hear Andy's experience of using the Genius and what she uses it for and how she uses it so consistently, gets back to it when she gets off track. Really, really nice. And I really appreciate you volunteering today. So let's go through, let's just look at what we have come up. Body systems, digestion, minerals, infection, energetic disturbance. So let's look at the ones that are red today. We often go through our basic process number one. Let's go ahead and go through these and take a look at them. So we see body systems and we see the immune system. We see the endocrine system. And she said that the accident actually kind of messed up her hormones, which is interesting. I haven't heard that, but that would make sense because anything that causes you adrenal stress would affect your overall reproductive hormones as well. Now let's go ahead and let's look at the next one, which is digestion. Tells us the mouth. This could be something going on with a dental issue. It could be the mouth microbiome. It could be something to do with saliva, salivation. But you know, when I see mouth, I often think of just working on the total gut microbiome as a good strategy. It tells us small intestine, stomach, and pancreas. And there's the gut flora right there at 140. So I would include that as well. Then the next thing is minerals. And we've got potassium, which is interesting. A lot of people can get very low in potassium. Hang on for just 1 second. We can get very low in potassium if we're stressed out, or if we just don't have enough fruits and vegetables in our diet. So maybe some potassium broth. You can kind of look online to see how to make a nice vegetable broth and how to do that. And then we've got lithium and iodine. So iodine does tend to be deficient in a lot of people. It leads to thyroid issues. And lithium, it wouldn't be like taking lithium, but it would be more related to something for your brain, which is called lithium orotate. So you can look up the cognitive benefits of taking about 5 milligrams of lithium orotate every day, and it can be quite beneficial. So that's something you could definitely look at and consider. We're going to use the energy of that lithium in our session today. Then infection, energetic disturbance is a chronic virus. And if you're in an accident or some stressful event, it could affect your immune system in such a way that it would be really easy for the herpetic viruses like Epstein-Barr, like cytomegalovirus they might be in your system already, and for them to more express themselves. So let's go ahead and try a progressive insights, if that function is working, by tapping on it right here. We're going to go to progressive insights. I think the issue here that is sometimes it takes a while. Oh, that was actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and see if we can put Epstein-Barr virus in here right there. Oh, that search worked really well. So then we say done and we say check, and we're looking for it to be about 75% or more of a match. So is the Epstein-Barr virus. We don't see a very high resonance here. So let's go ahead and let's actually just, for fun, let's put it in the tray and see where it ends up when we're in progressive insights. Now, can we just trash that one? Oh, that's actually a good function. Let's go ahead and let's try another one. Let's see if we can get cytomegalovirus. This actually, I'm impressed. This function is working extremely well. And that's really nice to just have that individual search, which was not working in the prior version. So that's looking really good. Okay, so then we are going to, so this is 46%. Okay, so neither one of them is getting a big, so I don't think it's either one of those viruses. This usually doesn't get the effect that I want to, but let's just show how it's done. Let's scan viruses all. And just if we scan all the viruses, let's see if there's any one that comes at like 100% up to the top. And let's just, for fun, because it did say virus, let's just see if there's anything. See, this isn't really helpful. I don't think it's going to be equine or swine fever, any of these. I just discard them out of hand as being, but you could still use their frequencies. Like you could still benefit from the frequency. It's not like we're giving a medication for that particular thing. We're giving a frequency, which if the body doesn't like the frequency, it will simply discard it out of hand. So there's no downside to it. All right, so we've got simian, we've got rickettsia. There's the cytomegalovirus. That's kind of interesting that it came up as being quite significant because these lower numbers are significant, but it didn't when we tested it individually. So let's put all of these into progressive insights. In fact, let's just do a test on it right at this moment. And let's see, how did all these viruses end up in, they shouldn't have ended up in there. I guess I did. Did I take all of them and put them in there? I don't know. Let's try this a little bit differently. Let's just clear the tray for a moment. Let's clear this tray and let's do something a little bit different. Let's go ahead. What we want to do is just take these bottom viruses and then let's just take these top ones up here, the 1, 2, and 3. And then let's go ahead and take the viruses all and let's just work with those. And then let's take this one. Let's go back here and take a couple of these that we saw back into the tray, the potassium, the iodine, the lithium. Let's include, we're going to just do a mini sort of progressive insights first. And what I want to do is I want to bring in our flower essences. So let's bring in all our flower essences and let's bring in all of our lower ones. Wow, a lot of flower essences want to come and hang out with her. So she really works well with emotional remedies. So she a lot of her healing is happening on the emotional plane. Let's go ahead and let's see what comes up to the very, very tippy top here. And it's telling us that some of the viruses are coming up. Gorse is releasing hopelessness. Chicory is finding good boundaries. Interesting. And wild oat. Wild oat is the third one. I do write down a lot of these for my clients and I tell them about the flower essences because it's always very meaningful to them. Uncertainty over the direction in one's life. Uncertainty over the direction. So we've got going from hopelessness to being hopeful. We've got chicory, which is establishing good boundaries. And then we've got wild oat, which is trying to figure out what the next chapter is. So I wonder if, Andy, if any of those resonate for you, we'll find out in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's check all of these high items and we can talk about the functional zones. I know that that was a question from someone. Some people love to work with the functional zones. They really do. Some people don't prefer it. We just never got a very good explanation of the specifics of the functional zones, which is a shame. And you certainly could write to the developer and urge him to get a more concrete explanation of these functional zones, but we will definitely look at them. Let's see what some of your other questions are here. All right, so let's go back to the very beginning here. Is there an easy way to explain to people what quantum biofeedback does? I'm having a difficult time. We have many articles, Sandra, on the website. We also explained it very succinctly in our business launchpad. We gave numerous explanations of how to give an elevator speech about what quantum biofeedback is and what genius biofeedback is. Quantum biofeedback or biofeedback is testing the voice in order to reveal deeper issues to the person. The voice has very specific frequencies called formants. And then similar to homeopathy, we simply feed back to the person the frequencies that are most needed for them based on their voice. The end result is feeling more like yourself, more harmony, more peace, more vitality, because the genius frequencies remind the body how to heal itself. So hopefully you wrote all of that down, or you can go back to this on YouTube and replay it. And we gave very specific explanations in our business launchpad, so you could literally read it from the sheet to the person. But that is one explanation of what the genius biofeedback system is seeking to do. It records the voice, marks it as a frequency, identifies the frequency, compares it to other frequencies, finds your best frequency. Your frequency is your medicine. And we're giving you the frequency that you need today in order to improve in some way, in order to harmonize. So hopefully you can understand that and explain it to other people, Sandra. It's always good to practice your elevator speech and to really see if you understand it and can explain it to other people. So I admire you're asking about it. So yeah, a lot of virus stuff coming to the top now. As I said, it may not be this virus in particular, but it may be inherent in these frequencies, maybe frequencies in general that help to boost the immune system. Now, having some type of a past accident, which is like a major event, could easily have set the immune system up in some way. And if the adrenal system is down from the accident, then the immune system is most likely down from the accident. So when your adrenals go haywire in an emergency situation, you basically release a lot of cortisol from your adrenals. And when you release all that cortisol, lots and lots of cortisol in your blood causes your immune system to go down. A profound example of this is when you think of the skin cream hydrocortisone. Hydrocortisone, what does it do? It's going to make the rash go away on your skin, right? I'm going to put some hydrocortisone cream on here and my rash will go away. It's like magic. What did it do to make that go away? Is it suppressed the immune system. Accident, cortisol, suppressed immune system. And this could actually extend itself out over time. And so one of the best things if you were in some type of an incident like this is to make sure you get a ton of adaptogens, maybe some licorice, holy basil, rhodiola, Siberian ginseng, all of those wonderful adaptogens in order to help yourself to revitalize your immune system and, of course, your adrenal system. Let's go ahead and let's try one more scan. It's interesting when we keep rescanning, those viruses keep going to the top. And we do want to do some other scans as well, because part of the reason they're coming to the top is because there's so many of them just in the scan itself. Okay, now Star Bethlehem is a home run here because Star Bethlehem is for past trauma, past emotional trauma. So that's a good one. It's nice that it came all the way to the top. So a lot of times I'm writing that down and I'm going to report and let people know one of the best things you can let your clients know is about their flower essences, because you're not diagnosing them. You're not telling them, hey, you have this, certain type of virus, you have cytomegalovirus. We don't want to say that. They just have a resonance in their field. They don't have that thing. They just have a resonance. That's all we can tell them. They have an energy. But we can easily explain to them without any hesitation that they have a flower essences and it's related somewhat to the past trauma. And that's something that can be very freeing. Oh my gosh, this is like my PTSD and I'm starting to clear it. So that can be very, very helpful. And of course, is when you feel hopeless, but you're moving into a place of more hopefulness. Okay. Okay, Priscilla, nice to have you here. And thank you so, so much. I got to travel and got to meet Priscilla. So it's so nice to have you here. I have that problem. You did not choose all of those remedies, the one fix that I've asked for. Yes, I did actually choose all of those remedies. It's not choosing the low or the medium, it's only choosing the high items. But if you do have an issue, you can send it to us first, support@geniusbiofeedback.com, so we can address it and perhaps move it on to the developer. We'll see if that needs to happen. We're going to take some of your other questions. We're going to go back to the scan now. We're going to go to the, let's see if we can think about how we want to do this. Let's go ahead and tap once and we'll go to the general overview. And let's go ahead and see if we can get lucky enough to have I think we're not going to be able to have the libraries are in there. All right, so we'll get the libraries. Now, is this all the libraries? Is this only the libraries? So only the libraries are in here, not the other items. So yeah, I don't know if that's what you were referring to, Priscilla, but I see all the library items. I don't see many other items. They're in there though. Okay, so because we have so many library items, they're predominating. That's what's going on. So, all right. Now, remember what we have in here, and it looks like there's an issue with the rectification at the bottom. So just know that again, consider if you're in this new version that you're the beta. If you don't like the beta and you want to go back, then just use our blog article from today. We will not take offense whatsoever. If you want to revert to the previous version, we are not in any way offended. You can revert. We want to help you, assist you, because there are issues and there are going to continue to be issues. And we just need you to, if you're doing this, you just report and report and report to us, and then we screen them and report them to the developer. That all being said, this did successfully scan probably about 60,000 items in our database, which is truly a triumph for quantum biofeedback. I'm not sure that there are any other programs right now that scan this many items at one time and do it in the rapidity that we just saw it happen, which is like in seconds, because we've got 1,200 total libraries to offer from our libraries. We've got about 50 items in each. So I'm saying at a minimum, we're looking at just a massive amount of libraries. So out of all of those libraries, what Andy resonated with, what she connected with the most, was this affirmation. I am trusting all the miracles that are occurring in my life. So that's very, very significant. So I would even just put that up into QuickZap on its own. And then I would want to sort of bring it out and expand it even more by putting the 528 DNA, repair and miracles, just sort of emphasize and potentiate it, bring it out even more. And then I would combine it, say, with sacred geometry. You could do the golden ratio. You could do it. I always like to do the toroids if they're sort of resonating. And so this would be a really nice, just sort of a holy trinity, nice 3 items at one time. And you can just balance that for a minute. And I'll see what you get when you balance it for a minute. And I don't know if we're going to get a rectification percentage. We'll see if we do. Let me see if I can sprinkle in some of the other questions here. And yeah, sorry, came on late. Is the suggestion to revert back to the old version? Only if you want to. We have provided a blog article at geniusbiofeedback.com. Go to learn, then drop down from the learn menu to the blog. And the most recent blog post is all about how to revert to the previous version. If you have a practice and you must see client after client, you need the genius to be working completely on point, then revert back to the previous version. No harm, no foul. Nobody's going to think any less of you. I have it set up on one of my devices when I need to just work and not report issues. If you're into reporting the issues and you love using the new version, we appreciate you. You're part of our sort of our greater beta group by using the new version. All of these issues eventually will be sorted and we'll have a perfectly working new version. It just takes time. And we did get a great rectification on that. So that's really nice. So let's go back to our general overview that we were looking at and see, this is just part of the issue. Now we don't have a general overview. That's unfortunate. So let's see if we can try it one more time. It's causing us to scan it again. And this is definitely an issue. And so that's unfortunate. I want to just see something if I go to the custom library. So again, this is not reliable at this point. If you need it to be reliable, then revert back to the previous version. There's still issues. You can report the issues to us at support@geniusbiofeedback.com. What about the dermatomes? Rachel, that's a great idea to use the dermatomes when you see a virus, because a lot of these herpetic viruses hang out in the dermatomes, and we created the dermatome libraries to address that and have some great solutions for viruses. Okay, if I have a session open after running it, not closing it because I went to the garden, the kitchen, do tell us all the places that you're going, whatever, while I ran it. Does it maintain contact with the client, or is it contact with their field only when the session is running? If the session is still running, it's still broadcasting it live to them. So you don't have to worry about that at all. It doesn't matter if you go away, the genius still continues to broadcast remotely. All right, so actually what I want to do is I want to run the custom libraries in order, and then I wanted to go back actually here and see if that changed anything here. Now, is it going to cause it to have to scan it again? Yeah, that's really unfortunate. It did something wrong. It shouldn't have scanned a second time. That's part of our issue. But we are going to look at these anyway, because they are still significant. They are scanning very high items. Let's go ahead and look at them. It's interesting that this came up. Now, this is just about the Epstein-Barr virus harmonizing program, but not specifically for Epstein-Barr, just telling us that fennel is good for antiviral. So I still think part of the scenario that Andy is dealing with is actually working on her immune system, and there may be chronic viruses in the mix there. We've got a living tree orchid essence called Golden Radiance. Dorsal interosseous. Now, she told us about, I think, her foot, but it's interesting that muscle, shoulders, arms, and hand muscles coming up, one of them being the dorsal interosseous. I don't remember exactly where that muscle is. The lingual network, and the nerve plexus, that's kind of interesting. Thoracic 4, sleep restorative, just an energy of reset, and then a few other things. Let's go down to the bottom and see what the lowest ones are. And synchronicity, Epsom salt bath for clearing and healing and protection. You may take on other people's energies quite easily. Okay, I would appreciate information on the functional zones. We'll talk about those. I have a couple of people asking me for how to run them. How do you price those? Sarah, I highly recommend that you take our business launchpad where we talked about all of those. Go to geniusbiofeedback.com, check it out. Business launchpad. If you need an installment plan or something like that, just get in touch with us. Not very expensive. The reason is we talk all about that, how to talk about the genius, how to price it. We really recommend that you do a subscription pricing, not just a one-off session. Okay, I love the new version because I can do a session faster. Awesome. I just ordered the harness. Can you talk about its use? I don't use it, so I'm going to skip talking about it. Congratulations on getting your harness. What it does, I'll briefly touch on it. I prefer to use the Genius as a sound instrument. And so I way prefer to listen to it through headphones, whether they be the bone conduction headphones or other types of headphones in stereo, because that is going to interact with our central nervous system. When you wear the Flower of Life wristbands, that is a perfectly acceptable way. What you want to know is that it is a unidirectional. It only works from sending the frequencies into the wrist. It doesn't have any type of analytic capacity. It doesn't assess anything going the other way. I have absolutely nothing more to say on them, except they're just another way to receive the frequencies. It's perfectly acceptable to do so. I have a client with long-term COVID, loss of smell and taste. Is there anything I can run? We have a library called COVID long hauler syndrome. So that would be probably the one to get. Let's see if we can find it in the search bar. So with the search bar, what we need to do is we need to tap the word library. I wish this was the default. It's not the default. I don't know why. So when we type in here, we have to go COV, and we have COV long haulers syndrome. Wow, a lot of things are coming up here. We'll talk about this. This is interesting. A lot of things are resonating for Andy from this. Let's talk about that in a moment. Where is the playback? The playback will be on YouTube right after this is over. The equine encephalitis is something I've seen show up. Is it important to know what the ones I don't know about the effect, or just run it? So Sarah, yeah, you could Google equine encephalitis, and then you could learn about it through Googling it. My guess would be if it's coming up equine encephalitis, it's actually reflecting more brain inflammation in general, and that wouldn't surprise me. So even though the energy, it says it's for a horse, it's encephalitis, that has to do with inflammation of the brain. It's probably reflecting somebody's more functional brain inflammation, or just systemic inflammation. So if you're going to look at those, then you need to sort of read between the lines, but the frequency is probably beneficial. I love the new version. Are we going to be able to add custom libraries to the playlist? Why do you think you can't add custom libraries to the playlist? Let me know. Nerve will relate to dermatomes. Viruses come out with stress. It would be nice if you could click on an item in the general overview and get a small definition about it. Sarah, what we've done is actually every day for about 40 hours a week, we've worked on guides for our libraries. So if you have acquired libraries from geniusbiofeedback.com, you should print them out, put it in a binder, and then you'll be able to find them. They're not going to be programmed into the Genius anytime soon. So if you really want to discover them, have that binder close to you, and then look at them while you're doing your session. I understand it's 2022. We want everything possible on our app. We just want to be able to work from the app. We don't want to do anything else, but get a loose leaf binder, put them in the binder. We have spent thousands of hours to get those guides so that everything could be defined. And so really, even though they're not in the Genius, I really suggest you avail yourself to those. Almost every library appearing at the website, geniusbiofeedback.com, at this time comes with a guide. I would say about 80%. We're not completely there yet because they take hours and hours to define everything that's in the library, but we've worked really hard to make that happen. You won't find that with other library producers when you get libraries from other websites. We just really dove in and made a commitment to make these as relevant as possible. Okay, so library discounts would be such a great prize for the Genius event. We do have a plan called the Library Discount Club where you can get 20% discount every single time that you go. And also we're going to have lots and lots of Black Friday specials. So just know we're going to have lots and lots of discounts of libraries for Black Friday for sure. It's one of the best times. And everybody who's in Library Discount Club, they get whatever discount is offered on, and they get their 20% off whatever discount that we offer. So on top of the discounted rates, they're going to get an additional 25%. If you want to learn more, you can go to geniusbiofeedback.com, click on our memberships, or I think it's under clubs, and you can see all about the Library Discount Club. You can join the Library Discount Club for just 1 month and you can cancel at any time. It's completely up to you. We're very, very cool, easygoing, but it's great. You also get a $97 coupon for any library on the website at that time. So definitely check that out. I really wanted to talk about this interesting thing about the long hauler syndrome. This is on the website at geniusbiofeedback.com. It's interesting that all of these things are resonating for her. Clear joint inflammation, restore mitochondrial function, restore healthy lung function, Siberian ginseng, reishi. These are the adaptogens I was talking about. So that's fascinating that these are coming up quite a lot for her. Isn't that just fascinating? So let's see what else we have. Maybe we should look just in general at inflammation and see what we've got coming up here in general for inflammation. So we have this past issue. And I also want to look at some of the brain libraries. So if we just look at inflammation assessment, tells us that inflammation may be causing these things that are being shown. And let's include those. Let's look at inflammation solutions. And this is another thing that it doesn't go back. It should go back to the search and it goes all the way back to the beginning. So you have to search it again. So that's not good. All right. So it tells us some things: green tea, CBD oil, astaxanthin, which is a great antioxidant, bilberry. These would be really good for her. Let's go ahead and put them in the mix, at least energetically. Milk thistle, another CBD remedy, phytoprofen, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. So a lot of the anti-inflammatory herbs and remedies are coming up for her. Okay, so, and we're going to get to those functional zones, and we've got some other questions here. I mean, after a session stops broadcasting, after it's broadcast, does contact maintain? No, if you stop the frequencies, it doesn't keep broadcasting. Okay, if you stop broadcasting the frequencies, then the broadcast stops. Now, what's interesting about what's coming up here is all the viruses are still sort of percolating to the top. So that is very, very interesting. I think the really cool thing, Andy, that we stumbled on today is about the viral piece, just urging the immune system forward to, continue to give it support. Let's actually see if we can we uncheck these for a moment? Let's look at something that would be helpful let's actually just go to viruses all, and we're going to check the left box rather than the right box, and that will allow us to interact with the functional zones. So when we go to viruses all, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tap on functional zones. And now it's going to analyze the 7 functional zones. The 7 functional zones contain a number of homeopathic remedies that are within each zone. So each zone itself has a whole bunch of remedies in the actual assessment part. So when they program this in, you would see like maybe a whole bunch of different Hertz frequencies that goes into tissue regulation zone, that goes into psychogenic zone, that goes into interference zone. So tissue regulation zone is going to be the regulation of electrolytes, the regulation of nutrients into the tissue. How responsive is it? How healthy is the tissue able to be biochemically healthy? The geophysical zone, so that's going to be related to geopathic stress. The immune zone is immune system. Microorganism is some type of a parasite, fungus, pathogen affecting the person. So psychogenic is like psychological, and interference zone. Now that is when you bump your head, break a bone, have a surgery. It causes a break or an issue, which we call an interference field. And this can be cleared with a green laser, it can be cleared with a mud pack, but it often is it's something like you got a cut, a scrape, a bump to the head, and that scrape affected everything along the meridian lines that are related to that location where you had it's sort of like a break, some type of a break in the skin or break in the bone. This comes out of the work from Premier Research Labs and out of the work of Dr. Bob Marshall. And he really thought anything that would break the skin, like a needle injection, and even to the point where he thought acupuncture could also create an interference field, kind of ironic in a way, because it's affecting the meridians. I don't know. I've had good effects from acupuncture itself, although that was not the original Chinese medicine intervention. The original Chinese medicine intervention was much more subtle and was mostly done with herbs. Acupuncture is something that came out of the 70s introduction with Nixon heading over to China and sort of opening the door to Chinese medicine coming over to the West with TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and more of an emphasis on the whole needling effect. Something called traditional Chinese medicine, where something called classical Chinese medicine has much more of a focus, less on the acupuncture needles, more on the combination of herbs to move the subtle energies and meridians of the body. Kind of interesting. And it goes back to this just Western thought, like we have to just take something and clobber it and just hit it over the head, and we got to cut and do this and rip it apart and everything. Whereas the real wise sort of elders of Chinese medicine were like less is more. And I think with the genius, it's always nice to see less is more. These subtle energies can have a great and far-reaching effect. So all of that said, when you get one of these zones, you can actually take the zone itself, which has remedies in it, and include it, pull it down into your lower tray. You can also drill down the zone, although again, we don't have a really proper definition of what then comes in the drill down. Let's look at an example. In the tissue regulation zone, let's see what the two items are that it drills down to. So please be patient while the genius analyzes the tissue regulation zone. It tells us there's a 99% residence with a non-autoimmune allergy stress evaluation. What this means is that something in her environment or the food is affecting her and is causing an inflammation. We don't know what it is, but we could pull this down and use it as a remedy. And it says food allergy. So maybe this also tells us that this is less likely an environmental issue, but it is actually some food that she is consuming. We could look at the food allergy panels as well. Now let's go back and let's look at the psychogenic zone. So now we can analyze that one. Okay, so my friend Teresa has old libraries that I'd like to have. Can she share them with me? They aren't in libraries for sale. If they're libraries that we created here, then you just need to contact us and we can get them on the website. If they're ones that she created, then she can certainly share them with you. We don't share other people's libraries because that is the proprietary property of that person. So if somebody else created it, we have to go to the person who created it for the export. If Teresa created it, then she could authorize the export of them. If you don't see them on the website, then we simply can direct you to where they are or add them to the website. So depressive tendency stress evaluation. So is there some type of depression in the field? And she did say hormones, that it had disrupted her hormones. So when you include these functional zones, they will add some good remedies and some good frequencies to your balancing mix. So putting them in is actually pretty powerful. We're going to look at that in just a moment. And so the final one is the interference zone. Let's see what it tells us about the interference zone. Rachel says, I love the new version. Can we talk about the report section? Quick report, degenerative, counterproductive energy and toxicity. And You bet ranges. I don't know what that is, but we'll definitely look at those reports. Parasite stress evaluation. So there could be a parasite in Lyme. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary for a serious accident. Hers may not have been that serious to open the door for Lyme to sort of settle in. I think about Lyme less as being sort of an external vector, something that may happen internally in a pleomorphic way from some type of terrain or acidity change in the body. So I know Lyme is supposed to come from an actual thing that you get bitten by, obviously the tick, but I don't think that it really is logical considering how many people have emerged with Lyme. I don't think everybody was bitten, but then again, could be wrong there. Okay, so now we should be, let's do a rescan on this because we want to bring in the ones that we just put in here. So I want to see if any of these that we just put in, I don't think they're being added. So I think that this is just another issue. I don't think the functional zones were added to the tray. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't see any of them. So this is another bug. So see how you're still in beta mode here? So that's unfortunate. I don't see that it added any of them to the actual tray here, which is, that's too bad because we just did that whole thing. Holly, restoration of the pulmonary system, synchronicity, viruses. The viruses are just so consistent in the way that they've come up. Okay, the number ranges. Okay, so we'll talk about there's nothing that we're going to be able to pull out because once again, the developer didn't tell us very much about these definitions of the reports. So, I mean, you could urge the developer, hey, when you put something new out, maybe like the aura or these new reports, maybe you could define them. Maybe you could tell us what they mean. Maybe you could give us some guidelines rather than just putting them out there for us to figure out on their own because they don't even get them. And I do ask for them and there's nothing. So, but let's look at them together and I think we'll be able to sort it through. I do want to just finish this 30 seconds. I want to look at the actual aura after this is done. And let's look at Holly. The energy of Holly is really sort of purging some sort of negative emotions. It's a great purge of emotions. It's reconnecting with your heart and unlimited love and compassion and expelling sort of envy, jealousy, sort of just feeling, angry or resentful. So it's a good purging flower essence. Now with that, let's go ahead and let's go to the all the way back to the aura. And let's see how the aura, this is what we were with the aura. Let's see how it's changed. Is there a process to run frequencies to improve the ranges? Great way to show a report. Is there a process to run frequencies to improve the ranges? That's an interesting question. Let's go look at the reports first, and then we'll be able to better answer it. Okay. So that's very interesting. Let's look at the comparison. Remember, what's closest is going to be the biggest priority for the person today. What moves into that center egg? Color is the most important and relevant to that person today. So we've moved from that green color into a very bright yellow. Now, yellow is, of course, going to be third chakra, and it's moving more into that power center. So she may be just moving into that power of healing herself and moving forward with her life, leaving all the accident stuff in the rear view mirror and really moving into a different part of her life. And it's interesting that that dark ring on the outside, which was kind of muddy and I think was related to first chakra, is actually clearing quite a bit. I love the vitality color inherent in this yellow, and yellow is also liver. So there could be a lot of emotional and sort of organ clearing as well, but it looks really, really good. All right, so now we're getting a better sense of how the new aura function works, what it's all about, which is great. So you can feel more confident with it. I don't know why it boots us out of the program. That is another issue that should be resolved. And now it's crashing. At least we made it to the end of class today. But I do just want to do a few more things here. I just did want to talk about that report. Let's see if we can get it back. I still have it right here on mine, but it's being a little bit finicky. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's look at those reports. So they should be let's see, are they here? All right, so let's see. These are the reports. Remind me actually where they are. Are they here? The quick overview report. Okay, so this is great. This came from the printout that we used to do that was on a PDF. We have incorporated it now into the Genius. So it tells us that the number one solfeggio tone is 417 hertz, rising above welcoming changes, clearing trauma. So that makes so much sense. And this is going to be the highest read item. The highest Nogier was about Nogier E, which was pain and nerve conduction. The highest herb was the milk thistle. And that makes sense because liver cleansing, right? And that came through in the aura as well. So that could be really helpful for her. The mineral potassium we saw. So this is nice because you can send this entire report to the person and you can disclaim it by saying this is only energetic information. None of it should be taken as physical diagnosis. Let's look at the rest of it. Energy level. This is an estimation of your current energy level for the day. The higher the score means you have more energy for the day. So she's at 90%. That's really, really good. Let's go to the next one. Now, degenerative energy, it's going to sort of be the opposite, right? So an estimation of the degenerative energy, the energy is the oxidative stress, decaying energy from the cell. So when you breathe and live, you actually produce free radicals and you produce oxidative stress. Therefore, eating vegetables, squash, carrots, collards, kale, all those things, they have a great amount of antioxidants, and those things help to reduce the amount of oxidative stress. So they quench the free radicals and reduce that oxidative stress. Also, nitro-oxidative stress could be considered to be part of this degenerative energy. So it's going to come from the circulatory system. On a this gets into like PhD level stuff here. On a cellular level, when the cells are functioning optimally, there will be some oxidative stress activity. However, an increase in degenerative energy results in aging faster. Okay, cut to the chase. When you see a higher level of degenerative energy, so she's right in the middle. So she's perfect because just like it says, you have to have some going on. That's just part of life, but you don't want to have too much. So she's right in the middle. That's actually very, very good. So that's when you see the degenerative energy go to 60, 70, 80, 90, there could be an active infection in the body. The person could be drinking alcohol or smoking. That's going to be more degenerative energy. They could have an active disease process going on, or their nutrition is not good and they're not getting enough antioxidants in their system. So that's degenerative energy. Counterproductive energy, an estimation of the ability to convert your energy intake into resourceful energy. The amount of energy your body spends on counteracting disruptive energies or imbalances in your body like food allergies, autoimmune response, etc. This is not only cellular energy, but it can be systemic. The amount of, oh gosh, this could maybe be a lot more simply explained. An estimation of the ability to convert your energy intake into resourceful energy. I take this really as being sort of a representation of mitochondrial function and counterproductive energy. So if you had a high level of counterproductive energy, then I would say your mitochondria is not working very well. So basically you want to see degenerative energy and counterproductive energy be on the low side, whereas you want to see your energy level be on the high side. The last one is toxicity, an estimation of your inner terrain toxicity. Toxicity is the level of waste in your body which has not been eliminated. Toxicity can be in your body tissues, blood. You need to reduce or eliminate the toxins in your body. Okay, so again, her toxicity, it's like at a 50. So, you probably want to see a little bit lower. And to that point, that's what we talked about today, that she probably did have some buildup. That liver is active, and it's probably a combination of emotional and physical toxins. And again, if you're in an accident, it screws up your adrenals, it screws up your whole system, then it shuts down the process of detoxification. You'll have to continue that or sort of ramp it up as you get more balanced and you begin to heal. So it kind of makes sense. All that being said, she's only at a 50 for toxicity. Probably optimally, you're probably, 30 or 40 would be a little better, but still it's looking good. So energy is excellent. There's not too much degenerative energy. There's not too much counterproductive energy, and there's not too much toxicity. So, Rachel, that was a really good question. So thank you so much for asking that. So we had the opportunity to talk about these reports. Let's go back to Andy and find out how this information has landed with her while we get ready to sort of wrap up the class for today. So any burning questions, last minute questions, we do need your participation for the event of the year. So if you can participate in the event of the year. Hi, Andy, how you doing?
I'm good.
What was your thought about some of the things that we came up with today?
Well, I mean, I've been in chronic infection specialty for almost 30 years is my practice. So
Oh
I'm
my
not
goodness.
surprised to see,
Wow.
and I worked in a Lyme clinic before it was popular. So
Wow.
I'm not surprised by any of it. And it does tie in. And I usually do respond much better with flower, like homeopathy, than drugs. So no, I mean, I thought it was very good. And I loved seeing how you went into some of the deeper reports, because I hadn't really gotten into that a whole lot. And I like the new system quite a bit. I liked the old one, but I really love how the new one is. So no, it felt very accurate, and I've seen some of those different weirdo, because I've been exposed to like international viral exposures for decades. I'm
Right.
not surprised by that at all. So no,
That's
it was really good.
amazing. Well, just keep on harmonizing and just clear them from your field and you'll be fine.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much for volunteering and being part of our class today.
No,
You're
thank
absolutely
you for
wonderful.
all your hard work. I appreciate it greatly.
All right, Andy. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to let her go there. And thank you to everybody who joined today. And I think it's getting better. I think the new version, the developer really seriously has been working all weekend to sort of do bug testing and to clear them. So I think we're heading into better waters on this. But continue to report issues directly to us, support@geniusbiofeedback. Don't report them to the developer, because I do want to look at them. I'd like to see them, screen them, understand them before we send them on. We also want to make sure that they're not a user issue. Sometimes people don't realize it's actually something that they're doing, and we do want to help you with that before sending it on to the developer. All right, so for some final things regarding the aura. Today, first run, I understand you claim green, as she was concerned about or needing to heal. So a need, just that the aura Cheryl, just so you don't misunderstand me, we're saying that the center aura is just the most important issue, and the issue is related to the color. So the color, you want to look up, what does that color mean? What you do beyond that is your interpretation. The second run, I understand you claim the yellow. I don't know what the claim the yellow means. I don't know this word claim. Everybody's saying this word. To claim the yellow, is her healing the solar plexus issue. One seemed to represent a need, and the other healed or healing. I saw the result aura as results or good results. Which way do we view the color ring closest? Well, Cheryl, I think you're just splitting hairs on that. I'm not sure that is going to make too much of a difference. You were just saying what issue is the closest issue for that person today. And it's just in a layer so that you can understand what the priority is, because we used to have it in different parts of the aura. Now it's in a layer format. So you just want to understand what the priority is for that person. The priority was related to a green color. How you interpret the green color is entirely up to you. I interpret it one way, saying that it looked like she was really, because she talked about an accident and still healing from the accident, that she was probably bringing a lot of healing into her field. Then I said yellow, it looks like she's actually achieving. Right? This is like a center issue, that she's achieving some level of vitality, that there's a yellow color coming forth, that she may be also working on her solar chakra, getting more empowerment. And then also that yellow could be related to the liver. None of these things are written in stone. They are our interpretation and our essential understanding to our best ability intuitively of what may be going on in the field. We also noticed that she had a very thick line that was probably related to survival, first chakra, and that line diminished as we ran the frequencies. So once again, this is not geometry 101. It isn't calculus. It's not like that. It's much more intuitive and subject to your interpretation and how you're calling it. But it's just simply a layer that the closest in is greatest priority. So Cheryl, I hope I've helped you in some particular way by helping to explain that. Now, every week we're here at 10 o'clock Pacific time. So make sure you adjust your clock, especially with daylight savings time for some of us. And we always are going through some significant issue, either related to health or related to the genius. And so we'll continue to be here every Monday. Also, I'd like to invite you to join us for the podcast, which is going to be at 6:30 p.m. Still listing it as 7:30 p.m., but it is 6:30 p.m. on the Zoom. If you just click here, you can get on our Zoom, and it will start at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday. We're hoping to have Cindy from Suede Hills tell us all about greens and alfalfa. I'm not sure she'll be able to join us, but believe me, between myself and Karen, it'll be a very lively conversation covering a lot of ground about creating resilience within yourself in difficult times. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. And thank you from my heart to yours for being a wonderful part of our genius community. Have a great day, everyone. Take care now. Be well. Bye-bye for now.